we were able to share that message with 1.8 million small-scale farmers in Zimbabwe, which resulted in 9 million Zimbabweans being food secure for the first time in 20 years. As a result of that national program, I was in Rome in 2022 to receive the FAO Partnership Award. The tragedy is that the next year, yields plummeted again, because we tried to say, oh wow, great, this thing works now, let's just go big. So instead of doing your one little plot, let's go to 5 plots, let's go to 8 plots, and it's too much. So the national average farming size for a small-scale farmer in Zimbabwe is 2 hectares. When you're doing that by hand, that's a lot of labor. It became known as dig and die. And that's where the other speakers speak about it's unethical to require farmers to use the hand hoe. It's time to retire the hand hoe to the museum, all that kind of stuff. Yes, if we're talking about 2 hectares, I agree. But that's not what we're speaking about. The program that we ran in 2021 that fed 9 million people, the highest maize yield in Zimbabwe since 1984, the height of Zimbabwe's agricultural prowess. The way that we achieved it was not by going bigger, it was by going smaller. It was by matching the size of the field to the management capability of the farmer. What we ended up with, a guy called Darryl Edwards did most of this research and came up with the specific measurements and the spacing of this field. It is a 1/16th of a hectare plot, 16 meters wide. There's enough maize cobs in 1 16-meter row that will fill a bucket, which is enough food to feed a family for a week. There are 52 weeks in the year, so we need 52 of those rows. So now we've got a year's worth of food on a 39-meter by 16-meter row, the size of a tennis court. Historically, we were farming 2 football fields and could not feed the nation. 1/16th of a hectare, 1 tennis court, we managed to achieve food security for the first time in 20 years.
The farmers are very aware of climate change. It's the reality. We don't have to convince anyone that the rains are falling later or that weather patterns have changed. They are experiencing it, and they are experiencing the devastating impact and effect of that shift in seasons. For us in Zimbabwe, the rain now falls a month late, a full month late. So your growing season is delayed in rain-fed farming areas by an entire month, and we don't actually farm for the rain. The crop production or the crop success of the crop is not dependent on the rainfall, it's dependent on the heat units of the sun. So the optimal day to plant in my latitude is the 25th of November every year. So climate change is not changing the longest day of the year. The longest day of the year is the 21st of December every year. So climate change hasn't affected that, so we are missing out on the optimal growing heat units of the sun by having to delay planting because there's been no rainfall. So that's a major issue. The way to counteract that is mulch. If you have mulch in your field from the previous harvest, your crop residue is knocked down and remains in your field, that will catch every single drop that falls. We do have some rainfall in September, some in October, some in November, so you can reach the 100 milliliters of effective rainfall if you've had mulch in place throughout the off-season. That's the key. I wanted to talk a little bit about, I think we measure the wrong things, unfortunately we get so caught up in the science and the data and the exciting bits about tons per hectare. We celebrate, we have records that are celebrated and rewarded for yield at tons per hectare. That's meaningless to a small-scale farmer. It's an absolutely meaningless metric of success or failure. Success or failure for a small-scale farmer is, did I feed my family this year or not? It's as simple as that. And so we need to just change our metrics. You are what you measure. And so if we're measuring tons per hectare, we're going to be chasing our tails, trying to put more fertilizer and whatever. And when it's not a helpful metric at all. We were able to feed 9 million people in Zimbabwe by getting 1.8 million farmers to adopt CA. I heard another speaker say that there are 69 million hungry people on the continent of Africa right now. So what we need is for 2 million small-scale farmers to adopt this and begin doing it. We don't care the tons per hectare that they get. We simply want them to be able to feed their families. Every farmer represents 5 family members. This is the way to feed the continent of Africa in the face of ongoing climate change. So I think we need to just change the metric and change the narrative